Hello. So here we are in another podcast of a life with purpose, and today we are implementing something different today. I don't want to like do it so you're following the guidelines and being specific with points A, B, and C. This is like very casual. This setup, she helped me put it together, and I want you guys to know that this is actually life. This is how it is. You find a friend, you find a talented person, you find people on your way that help you, that believe in you, that support you, and that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today, right? So this is
No.
Gelpi right here,
Hi
the
there.
beautiful artist Gelpi, and I had the pleasure to meet a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and ever since then I've been hooked up with her stuff. I mean, she does everything, and we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about resilience. We're going to talk about the why it is that you want to do something, what you believe in, right? So
Yes,
what
absolutely.
do we start? What do we start? We start telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got into becoming an artist.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for believing in me and thank you
Of
for
course.
having me here. Just like you feel like you're being believed in, I feel encouraged and believed in as well. So, a big thing with having art in your life, I think, and being
Em-
an artist and stuff like
Empowerment,
that
women
is
empowerment.
empowerment, and always feeding the fire of positivity and passion to your friends, whoever they may be, no matter what they believe in. And even if you agree or don't agree, I think that it's wonderful to always make a point of feeding the flame to people's passion, always when it's a positive thing. So that's what we're here to do. So I thank you so much for always,
Mhm.
bringing me on and having me encouraged. I feel encouragement from you. That's why I refer to you like Tia Laura too. So it's
Thank you.
like
Yes,
definitely
that's
something
right.
that
I am Laura Galdo. I always forget to introduce myself, because I just assume that everybody knows me, but that's not the case. But thank you for being here. No, of course, and I love to have you because every time I talk to you, you have something different. You're an entrepreneur as well. So, and you're a young artist, an entrepreneur, and a creative, and you're always doing something new. And that is precisely the example that I want to, and the message that I want to convey to the audience. Not only, yeah, like you younger audiences, but also it can be done at any age. You're like, I'm much older than you, and I feel inspired by you. And I'm sure the younger people, younger generation before you, it's also can also getting inspired by you, and that's the idea, because in the end we're all the same. It doesn't
absolutely.
matter how old we are. It doesn't matter where we come from, our background. Like you, I'm sure that you have people that have inspired you in your life. I have people that continue to help me grow as I go in this journey of entrepreneurship and building my business, on my podcast, on my books, etc. But we're here to talk more about you. So talk about art.
Yes, absolutely. So for me, being an artist, it started when I was a young little kid, and it started with painting, and then it moved on to singing, and then it moved on to, as an adult, I started to see. I had always known how to make coffee, um, and I've always been into, you know, video games, and I've always been into um,
Painting.
painting and like all of these different modes of creativity.
Artistic creativity, yeah.
And some of them you come across them and you want to do it forever. For me, that would be, for example, singing. I always want to sing. I always want to be being creative with music. And so either I'm listening to something that can teach me something, or I am trying to create something that can inspire further ideas, whether it be with actual music or outside of music. So for me right now, I was going to be doing more streaming and things like that. So what I have ended up with this very interesting year that we just passed, 2020, diving into many different avenues of creativity. And it's not solid yet as far as my streaming, but it will be getting more solid as time progresses. But we also, as creatives and myself, I get almost overwhelmed by creativity and
Mhm.
ideas.
Mhm.
So what I tend to do is try to now put more action into the great ideas I have.
And I'm going to stop you right there because I think you said something really important. We tend to say, I am not there yet. With this humble I, way of speaking, or limiting belief, perhaps, people call it in different ways, but you are already there. And that's the
Absolutely.
message that I want to convey to the audience as well. Sometimes we have so much. You have been working for years.
Yeah.
You have been creating for years. So it's not like overnight, like you decided to do something last week and now I'm deciding to do this. No, all this has accumulated through a number of years.
Absolutely.
So you have explored different things because you can,
Right.
because
No,
you are
absolutely.
skillful, because you were born with the talent and the skills and abilities, and those abilities that you were not born with, you discovered
Over
through
time.
over time. So now you are ready to embark on something, on something beautiful, that you have in your mind, you have been thinking about for a long time, but that does not stop you from continuing to explore your other avenues of creativity.
Exactly.
And,
Which I
and
think
so
is super important because I think
Mhm,
sometimes people do get very
mhm,
down on themselves
mhm,
for the idea of like, well, I
mhm,
wanted to do this and then now I want to do that. It
mhm,
doesn't mean that your idea, per se, my own example,
mhm,
streaming is done. That's it. I'm never gonna do it.
mhm.
No. Putting it on the back burner, still marinating in those ideas are very good. And if you feel passion, more passion. And that's like a very big thing that I would love to continue to touch on throughout our conversation today
Yes.
is that passion. You have to direct yourself in the direction of your passion. If you have a specific passion and you just keep putting it off because of the simple fact that, like we talked about earlier, family,
Oh,
or
yes.
I have so much to do because I have kids. I don't have kids, but a lot of people have kids. Or,
Mhm.
oh, I want to focus more on being able to bring my family together. That's my biggest idea. I love bringing my family together and trying to get a
Yes.
whole bunch of adults, because we don't have kids yet, to get, no one in the family has kids yet. Bringing a whole bunch of adults together is so much harder than actually bringing kids together.
Yeah, yeah, yes,
And so it's
actually,
like,
yeah,
and
that's
so
right.
it's like we all have this availability to just get in our cars and go, but at the same time, it seems to be so hard. So instead of making it seem so hard, just make it very simple and know that if the direction is B, where your passion is, that is the place. B is the name of that place. Then you have to go to B as soon as possible, and you have to be there at B the whole time and
Mhm,
keep your eye on that prize, as per
mhm,
se,
mhm,
and
mhm,
always stay
mhm,
focused, because I think that when we hear a little self-doubt, or we may see someone accomplishing
mhm,
something
mhm,
in the direction of that
mhm,
passion,
mhm,
it can scare us into not wanting to do it. And that's something that I have struggled with as an artist and as a
mhm,
human being. People
mhm.
do struggle with that all the time, and
Yes.
sometimes even more daily than we'd want to even believe that people
Mhm,
do.
mhm,
And the idea is to try to break out of that. And if that
mhm,
means, putting uh, aside that TV show for that day, that you want to focus on your passion, it could be
mhm,
2, 3, 4 hours a week, but as long as you're focusing on your passion, and a compound
mhm,
effect will happen, and
mhm,
you will eventually end up there. Like you had
mhm.
told me earlier, behind the scenes, we were talking about
Yes.
the fact that, working on something day to day or little by little is very, very important. And I
Mhm,
think
mhm,
that that was something that I learned, funny enough, from my brother, from my little brother. He
mhm,
very much a person that would stay home, save, take his time,
mhm,
and really accomplish his goals in year spans, but every single day was a step closer. So that's what I learned from him. And I
mhm,
think that a lot of people tend to just get sidetracked because it can't happen
mhm.
overnight, like you said,
Yeah, so
you
it can
know?
it cannot happen if you identify what is going on. I think that it's important that you identify. You've touched upon different points here. I'm trying to
Sorry.
decide. No, 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 that's okay. That's beautiful, because that is something that we wanted to discuss here. You need to identify those limiting beliefs. Going back to having doubts, because you mentioned people have doubts. That is basically limiting beliefs. It's a cliche. Everybody's talking about it. It's true. Like, I'm getting tired of that, but it is a fact. It is true. So when you
Absolutely.
identify those limiting beliefs and you say, "Oh, I am doing this and I'm doing a disservice to myself, to my
Totally.
business, to my passion," then it's when you start taking steps and saying, "I'm not going to watch that TV show today."
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm not going to, to waste time in doing this or that, because that's not adding to my growth. or to my business growth,
Absolutely.
or to my design, what I have in my mind to design for my business. So I wanted to go back again to the word resilience, which we discussed before. So
Absolutely.
resilience, what does that mean in your life? And how do you view that word? It has to do with obstacles and adapting and adjusting to situations. Is there anything that you want to tell us about that?
Sure. I think we okay, so I'm 31. So I would say I'm very introspective and retrospective. Like I really can go back 10, 20 years into my thoughts then. And like I really and I write a lot. Since I was a little kid, I've always written. So I've been able to also
As
go
a good
back to
artist.
my thoughts. That's a big thing, like
Yeah.
going back to your thoughts, And so, and I do it, I don't do it on notes in my iPhone. I actually write it down on a paper because it's really
Journaling,
important.
yeah.
I'm not the best daily journaler though. Funny enough, I'm not
Yeah.
like into writing every single day. I
Mhm.
tend to write when I have like epic
Inspired.
events happen to me. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's like either I remember I wrote the day before I turned 18. I wrote,
Oh,
like
okay.
Mother's Day maybe is something important that something happened that day, or maybe even just a wonderful experience that I had on a regular day, but I wanted to write about it and it just
Mm.
felt very important to me. I don't know why, but yeah, so journaling, I'm able to go back into my thoughts. And when I was a kid, I was way more resilient, as a matter of fact. And of course, kids are, because they
Yeah.
just have an innocence and there's a
Mhm. And it's easier
naiveness
for them
to
to navigate.
navigate.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when it comes down to it, I've always held on to my inner child so hard that I almost cemented into my
Mm.
mind to a degree. I'll always be able to get through everything. I'll always be able to get through everything. But it got to the point where then when you can't, because you are human,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
are an adult, there are
Mhm.
different hormones going through your body, and it's just a completely different reality, because innocence is not included anymore. Everything's
Mhm.
not butterflies and rainbows like it used to be. um I tended to dim my light, if
Mm.
you will. And when it comes down to that, then it started to create all this self doubt that I never had before. And I mean, I was
Mm.
25 and 26 thinking, what's happening? I'm self destructing,
Yeah.
it's self sabotage to a degree. And
Yeah.
the thing is we can't let that in.
Mhm.
We have to definitely, of course, it's going to happen. And like she said, identify the darkness, identify the limiting thoughts, identify those things. So once you have identified, you're like, oh, it was just like a moment. And
Yes.
my mom has told me
Mhm.
emotions are like clouds. They keep rolling by. They keep rolling by and then they're going to be gone. And so at that point, like that thought is only in your mind for one moment, but a lot of people hang on to the cloud and start going with it
Oh.
and leaving, and like now you're in the thunderstorm. That's never where you're supposed to be. You're down here on earth. Do you have control or you don't have control? Like, so I started to
Yeah.
realize that, and even in my own interpersonal relationships with my family members, having a sense of emotional control will also help you not have, to cling on to those limiting thoughts, because they are also part of an
Mhm.
emotion.
Mhm.
You could just not feel good in a day, have a
Yeah.
limiting thought, and then you go with that thought and for the next 3 weeks, 2 months, 5 years,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
not
I was
good.
gonna say even years.
Yeah.
Even
So
years.
I've
Mhm.
learned that when it comes to, like you said, resilience and, adaption and all of those things, it's like I'm not a warrior. I mean, I'm a warrior at heart, but
I think you are.
I'd
Yeah,
say
heck of a warrior.
I'd say thank you so much for that. But like I don't like to say that I'm a warrior because it comes with such a jaded appeal or
Mhm.
idea to it. And really, like, that's not the idea. The idea is to like still have like that happiness, like you actually, you're so like a happy person. And
Mhm.
typically people of your age would have a more dim and more subdued like
Mhm.
setting, like weight to them, personality even.
That's because I hung on to the child within.
Right. That's what I'm
I
saying.
cannot leave my little girl. My
Right.
little girl.
And that's why we identify so
Yeah,
well,
my little
because
girl
we get
cried
along
so
like that.
much. My little girl suffered so much back in my country. My little girl also rejoiced and laughed thanks to my parents who made my space better than it was supposed to be. So
Absolutely.
how can I forget that little girl?
Absolutely. No, totally. And
Yeah.
and that's why I say, of course, kids, they go through so much,
Mm-hmm.
even though we even like, I'm not a parent, but when I become a parent, I'll be like doing everything I can. And they always say, no matter what you do, it's still not going to be enough. And it's crazy. It's like you can do as much as you want, and still sometimes, you may not be able to, you can't be in their head. You can't be in their head.
Yeah.
So we also had our own moments as children where no one's in our head. We're making these thoughts for ourselves in these moments. If we have parents that let us be free, of course, and
Yeah.
liberated,
Yeah.
free within ourselves, who we are, and respecting
Yeah.
us as individuals, which was my
Which is
mom
very
was
important.
really big into that. And so that's why my friends liked being at our house, because they would love that my mom would let them just be free, and we can paint and we can sing and we can play outside and we can go jump around, and it's okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some sandwiches now, and then we're gonna go back outside, and then
Yeah.
it's all about being able to be free. But we have to remember that that still lives within us, that we
Yeah.
can adapt even if we feel like we're in some sort of cage. Like, a lot of us have felt financially so strained this past
Yeah.
year, the whole world. So when
Yeah.
it comes down to it, it's
Not only in the past year has been significant because of COVID and all the situations, but not only last year, throughout time, we have had our ups and downs financially.
absolutely. And that's also very individual, because there's
Yeah.
many people that growing up, I grew up in many different socioeconomic situations. My parents were realtors, so we moved a lot. And so when I was able to live in Key Biscayne, there were certain people that were able to live in Key Biscayne. I mean, us included.
Yeah.
And then now we don't live in Key Biscayne
Well,
anymore.
Key Biscayne, so for the audience that they don't know, we are here recording from Miami today.
Miami.
And Key Biscayne is an area close to the beach, to one of the beaches here in South Florida.
So
So,
it's
yeah.
an affluent area, and there's lots of people who are able to live there and move and had different businesses. Like, we've had friends, we had family friends that, like, they had like a South American fitness and cream and like a dietary supplement company.
You
And
mean like businesses in the area?
right, and not even in the area, but like that was their business.
Oh, okay.
And they would do that. And at that time, in those years, that was huge. Now it's not. So
Okay.
it's like totally different style. So
So
being
going
an
back to adapting, and
right,
going back to
adapting
resilience,
is
and going
like
back to
you
rewiring the mind for
right, you
something.
have to be ready for the next thing. And especially
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur and being an artist and being a creative and being a human, it's very much, especially with last year, a lot of people were faced with with a change. It wasn't the constant
With
anymore.
a radical change.
Right.
Yes.
So when it comes down to that, you want to be able to go ahead and, okay, today's a new system. What are we going to do? How am I going to be able to handle this? Yesterday, let's say when I moved from Miami to California, I didn't have the food that I'm used to, Cuban food. So what would I have to do? I'd have to adapt. What would when I felt like I was homesick and I could not make the food that I wanted to make, the closest thing to me was, in my ideas, it was Salvadorian food. Like, I could go there, I could have something super fried.
Because
It's not picante.
It was Latin, yeah.
And not only that, it's not Mexican, so it's not picante. Cubans, we're known for, well, we're not known for not having spicy food, but a lot of Latin food has spices in it.
Exactly.
And then
yeah,
we're one of
yeah.
the few countries that doesn't. So
We have coarse seasoning like cumin and oregano and stuff
bay
like that,
leaves
and bay leaves,
and
yeah.
culantro, not
Yeah.
cilantro, totally different.
Culantro.
Yeah. And so when it comes down to that, my adaptation was, okay, whenever I want rice and beans that are like not spicy, nothing like that, no Mexican stuff, because I was in California, I would go and have some Salvadorian food. And that is adapting. Just adapt. You have a new place that you're living in. You wanted to be here. I wanted to be there. And I wanted to spend my time there. And I was determined to stay for as long as I could handle, because I always had the opportunity to come home, thank God. And in the end of it, I was able to adapt. And that's what it is. Every day you have to adapt, even with things we don't like. So, but you have to make the best of it too, because you don't want to be miserable. You don't want to be miserable.
Exactly. So you have to, exactly. So if what you have is Asian food, it's like just which is your favorite dish,
right? Exactly.
The Indian, I don't know, food. Like
that is something that I have to say. So for food, it's very easy.
Yeah,
but for other things in our lives, like
other,
for me, it was like, okay, am I going to
like lifestyles and culture.
Right, no, for
Mhm.
sure. And not only that, like what your idea of an occupation would be, you know? So
Mhm.
for me, we were talking about it earlier, the change, like
Mhm.
not being stuck on one idea.
Mhm.
And pretty much what happened to me was I had to, like you said, rewire my mind to not feel like I was doing my music career and profession and my skills a disservice by wanting to get into my other passion, which I'm just as passionate about. But walking not away from, but for temporarily putting that on hold, my music, to go ahead and take care of something that I feel is very important to take care of, which is my business ideas.
So let me stop you right there and let's just focus on the musical part of you.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about your musical background, how you got it all, started in music, and where it took you, and the things that you were able to do with that music.
So when I was probably like in the ages of 8 years old, I've been, it's been known in the family. Yeah, everybody got the idea. Like I sing, but I never had an outlet. My the schools that I went to, and even the middle school that I went to, was so small, so it wasn't a place where we had like a huge music program. So by the time I ended up getting into music, I was through church and through a youth group, and then
Mhm.
from there it was, I was working with professionals because the music ministers took huge interest in me and my abilities. And it was from working with professionals from the age of 13 to then being able to go into my honor choir in high school, be part of, any type of musical production.
You had a gift. That's what your
Yeah.
priest saw, or your musical director at the church. That's what he saw, that you had a gift.
Right. And
Yeah.
I felt definitely blessed to have people who wanted to like hone and, direct me in a
Yeah.
great way through music. And from there, it just went into being able to sing at the Jackie Gleason for Nutcracker, to being able to, go and audition for universities I never went to, but I auditioned and they thought that it was impressive.
Yeah.
As far as being able to go to other places and make a living, even busking. I would go to the BART, which is the Bay Area Rapid Transit. It's a big train that goes through San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose, California.
Okay.
And you can get in any of those stations. They don't really allow it anymore, but you go and you can
They
sing.
will probably
And yeah,
again soon.
eventually,
We
yeah.
hope, yeah.
And so you can sing on the street, and I was able to make hundreds of dollars. Like a day that I was like, okay,
To
it's
make
not
good
doing
money,
good.
yeah.
I'm just go and sing on the corner, and people loved it. And I'm blessed to have that, because I
Mhm.
mean, who has that ability? Like, I'm not saying that I'm a superhero, but like there are so many talented people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's incredible to be able to go to a place and just put my
Yeah.
speaker down and get my microphone, put on my karaoke songs, and just go. And
Yeah.
it created such an amazing thing for me that I then had opportunities to sing in other places in San
But
Francisco.
to that, circling around that idea, is we were talking about before about charisma and about personality. You can have the talent, you can have the gift, but if you don't, you don't show, you don't project it to the audiences out there or to people out there, they're never going to know. So
Absolutely.
that is that's why it is so important, whether you are in the business world or in the knowledge industry or in any other industry, you have to have your, just have your personality blossomed and bring that light out so that
Yeah.
people can actually see you really,
Yeah.
rather than see you there.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
actually,
Yeah.
one of the coolest people that I know, and the most charismatic and the most like fully himself, is Alvaro, my friend Alvaro, your nephew, and like he brings out everything he has to be able to be, do his music, sell
Mhm.
halos for his wife, for his kids, like
Okay.
the
But
amount
now
of
we're talking about something that
personality.
the audience is not aware of. They don't know who these people are
Yeah,
in your life.
true.
Because I know what they are in my life, very dear to my life, because
Absolutely.
it's part of my family. But in your life, and speaking of role models, and speaking of people that trusted and believed in you, which is another topic that we wanted to touch upon, because a lot of people think, oh, I don't have anybody that trusts me. I don't have anybody that believes in me. Look
Yeah.
around, because you might be blinded to something grand and wonderful people that if you give them a chance, you can show them and they can show you their support and their love. So you want to go ahead and tell me a little bit about who they are and what they represented in your life?
Yes. So when it comes to being an entrepreneur, when it comes to being an artist and being open, because that was another thing that we were going to touch on, is not only adapting to the change, rewiring your mind to know that you're not straying away from any of your other passions by accomplishing one other passion that may be completely different than
Mm-hmm.
the first one that you thought you were born with, right? So I thought
Yeah.
that that was my purpose, singing.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is that I have so many different skills, and the people around me also see that. And I've been encouraged by people like Laura and people like her nephew. It must run in this family because they're so good at this. Her nephew and his wife, they believed in me so much. Emily and Alvaro, which Emily and Alvaro are good friends of mine and also role models of mine for being an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
I've always had this spirit of an entrepreneurial spirit, but they had already put into action and had this business for many years, and it
Mhm.
inspired me very much
Mhm.
to not be worried about what I have to prepare. You
Mhm.
know,
Just do it.
just do it.
Yes,
Exactly.
just do
See,
it.
Emily came to Miami with an idea to
Mm.
get her headbands to be sold to everybody at Ultra, and with that idea,
Ultra is the music festival. For
right?
those of you who are not aware of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know Ultra is famous
Yeah,
worldwide, but
yeah.
some people might not know
So
or
Ultra is
remember.
an EDM electric dance music
Yeah.
conference.
Mhm.
It's also during the Winter Music Conference, which is a month-long event here in Miami. And pretty
Mhm.
much they bring together electronic music, technology, and art all in one
On one
during the April, March
period. Yeah.
time,
Uh-huh.
and
Mhm.
spring, if you will, and which is also already summer for us.
Yeah.
And so ends up that there's tons of parties and there's tons of events, but this all of these parties, events, and conferences and musical events happen surrounding Ultra. And Ultra is one of the biggest international music festivals in the world. And so she came with this idea from Maui of her headbands that she already sold on the beach there. And see, that's what I'm saying, is like doing it right now. So she didn't have a
Mhm.
brick and mortar. She didn't have a shop. She didn't
Mhm.
have, let's say, a storefront with a beautiful sign that
Mhm.
says, you know, a hippie
Right.
rainbow
Yeah, like a
halos.
business plan and all these media
Right,
strategies and all this thing. It was just like organic,
right.
like they are.
And she was also inspired by, you know, you can learn more about her story, but she's also
Yeah.
inspired by the Brazilian street vendors when she was in Brazil. So everything is an idea passed on to an idea.
So you met her through Alvaro, who went to
Alvaro,
school with you. Alvaro, his husband, her husband,
yeah.
and so then they started. They believed in you when they saw you and your
Yeah, she's one of my
talent,
best
and
friends, and she saw that, you know, you sing, you make art, and you can do all these things. How about you just continue to do that, and you can sell the halos as well? And through her believing me, she's always been so generous and always giving me the best of her halos, and
Mhm.
always helped me with supply every time that I've ever needed.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
the continuous belief in me,
Mhm.
always, every single time, I'm like, oh, you know, I think, whether I had been doing it for a year and then I stopped for 6 months and then I come
Yeah.
back, she'd always be like, I think that this is great for you, do it, I'm sending you a batch right now, let's go.
And it
And
is so
that's so
good.
inspiring because
Yeah, to
it
have someone
speaks.
support you, to have someone believe in you. Who else believed in you in your life that you are blessed to say, oh my God, this person, I mean, maybe your mom, you say that she's
Oh
very
no, of
special
course, yes,
in your life. You're always
definitely.
talking about her.
I know, it's very true. So my mom definitely is the type of person that she gives me the tidbits of, she's in the knowledge industry, if you will.
Okay, okay.
That was so good. I love that you said that.
Yeah,
Knowledge
because
industry. You
yeah,
know,
it
I'd
is
say I never even heard of it. When you said that, I was like, ping. My eyes must have lit
that
up.
is the
You can
knowledge
look back.
industries, anything that projects, like gives people encouragement and personal development, professional growth, that teaches you that yes, you can do it, and this is how you can do it, and tips to grow in your life and take it to the next level, and leave everything behind that you didn't think was possible.
Right. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think what she instilled in me throughout my life was, you know, like, you're always going to be able to do it. Always be
I like
yourself.
that cloud. concept.
Oh yeah,
I like that thing. You don't hold
oh,
on to
the
the cloud because it's going to
emotions.
take you to the storm.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
I added that at the end, but she definitely gave me the idea of the clouds, and that imagery is very helpful. And she always put it in my
Yeah.
mind that whatever it is that I wanted to accomplish, I could do. And I don't know who exactly I got. I think maybe my dad, but like the resilience to failure is
Mm-hmm.
really important because
Mm-hmm.
your failures actually teach you a lot more than when you win. When you win, you're like all excited about the fact that you won and
Exactly.
you know what you did
But
to
your
get
failures.
there,
Mm-hmm.
but your failures actually show you so much more
Mm-hmm.
because of the simple
Yeah.
fact that okay, well, now I have this downtime
Yes.
to reconstruct what is it that I did here and here and here that
Mm-hmm.
didn't get me the result that I needed. And then by
Yeah.
failure, you actually find out so many new ideas that are even better
Yeah.
that end up making you even better than the next or the winner last time. The
Yeah.
winner last time had these things, but now you have 10 legs up against them because next time when it comes around, you're gonna have a
Yeah.
mind a mold breaking idea, you know, so you
Yeah.
have something that breaks the mold and you're able to push. Maybe you're the pioneer in this idea, who knows,
Mm-hmm.
but you would have never gotten there if you hadn't failed. And I think a lot of people are so caught up on the
Yeah.
awards that
I
these
see failure as a university. It's a
yeah.
university where you go back and you see where you failed and failed in a positive light. Okay, so this is, I need to adjust this here. I
Mm-hmm.
need to, okay, so this next subject, and also the subjects at a university are also like the wheel of life in your life. In this
Absolutely.
department, in relationship, in business, in friendship, in significant other, just like life has a wheel and also business has a wheel.
Absolutely.
I see failure also as a leg, like you say, of that, those parts of the wheel that you can just go back and let's see them, like a friend of mine says, as mistakes,
And
but see them
also
as growth.
totally, and also like who's there when you have failure, like
Mm-hmm.
who's there supporting you. That's
Mm-hmm.
also really important
Uh-huh.
because
Oh yeah,
Emily and
and who
Alvaro have
stays
always
there?
yeah,
Yeah.
Emily and Alvaro have always been those type of friends that when I have had failure in my own personal life that they
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
because these are like close family friends to me, they, you know, they never stopped being loving, stopped caring,
Mm-hmm.
they never
Mm-hmm.
stopped being the type of people that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
want to continue to
Mm-hmm.
encourage me in any idea I
Not
have.
being
Any
judgmental.
idea I
Mm-hmm.
have,
Mm-hmm.
any idea I
Yep.
have, it's always like, you know what, when you're gonna do it, how you're gonna do it, I'm so excited for you, what do your parents think, that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's always a dialogue of
Yeah.
encouragement, and that's super important. You have to
Yes.
have those type of people around you. If you do not have those type of people around you, you have people that are down on
Find
your
them.
ideas.
Find them
Right,
because
you
they
have
are
to
there.
find them because the
Yes.
fact is, and if that means you have to shrink your circle, shrink it.
Oh, that's
Do
another
it.
topic that I think that it's important that we touched upon, because it's not being selfish. It's not being that you think that you're better than anybody else. It is that you are focusing on one target, which is
Mm-hmm.
something else that, and when you focus on one target, you cannot allow any noise out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm sure that those people that don't serve you anymore, or maybe they just had a purpose in life, because I believe that
Oh
everybody
yeah.
has a purpose in life, whether to stay through your last breath, or to stay for a year or two, or even for a minute at a
Yeah.
store when you bump into them and you have a short conversation, or an exchange of words. But it's important that you narrow down your circle,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can focus, because you're not only narrowing down your circle of with people, but also with noise and with things. And when we are creating a business, and this happened to me, and I know that it happens to everybody, we want to register in all courses or online classes. You want to listen to all people workshops, and it gets overwhelming, which is something also that we discussed earlier, that I feel, or I felt in the past, overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to stop, and you have to say, that's it. This is going to serve me now, or this might be good, but not for me now. This
Right.
person, it's good, thank you, but not now. And that's how you start, cleaning out. Like I say, you have to clean out your house, and your house meaning yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The higher self, the inner self, the child within, so that you can start with a clean slate and say, okay, so what do I have? What are 2 or 3 or 4 points that I have here right now? Like in my case, what am I doing right now? I have my books, I have my teaching, I have my journalism, but what do I have right now? what I have right now is my podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that doesn't mean, like you say, that you cannot have multiple passions.
Right.
Okay, because we creatives do, and I think that there's creativity in everybody,
Absolutely.
also, but you have to narrow your circle. I don't want to say push away, but yes, push away certain people that are not on your same level of mind of what you want to create, is what I mean.
Right.
Again, not that you are better than them, but they might be somewhere else. They might be doing something else.
Totally.
So you have to just go ahead and focus on that. So how did you handle that noise in your head? And how did you learn to listen to your intuition?
Well, um, there's lots of ways. Well, one of them, and I think that this is really,
Where do I start?
yeah, for sure. So there's a few things that she talked about that were really important. Overwhelming. When I mentioned in the beginning that, like, I get very overwhelmed by creative thoughts. It's not.
We all do. We all
It's
do.
not all bad. Like, these are all beautiful thoughts, great business ideas, great concepts. But at the same time, um, just because it's not negative thoughts doesn't mean it's not overwhelming. It doesn't mean that it can take you by surprise and you're like, whoa, okay, these
Right.
are a lot of ideas. I don't even know where to start. But you have to always direct it to that passion, like we
Well,
spoke
creating a
about
party,
before.
like putting a party together, it's stressful and it's something fun. So
For sure.
yeah.
Exactly. So the roadmap, like you had mentioned earlier,
Road
the
mapping.
roadmap to that is,
Mhm.
okay, so I feel overwhelmed. Now that I've identified this overwhelming feeling,
Mhm.
what is it that's actually calling to me out of all of these ideas?
That's
And for
priority.
me,
Mhm.
not letting go of music, but just putting it on the sideline for
On the
right
side.
now,
Mhm.
and then focusing on the new business. Not new, really. It's just something that's been marinating for so long, and now
Yeah.
I'm finally taking action. Is my coffee business, and where is it going to go, and then the idea that, my role models and my good friends, family friends, Emily and Alvaro, have put in my mind is just do it now with what you have. That's
So
a
what does your
very
intuition tell
cultural
you?
thing for me, for what you have, with what you have right now.
Yes.
That's a
Mhm.
Cuban mentality, very much like innovate right now,
Yeah.
and
Now is the time. Yeah.
right.
And so now is the time for you to go ahead and expand on that original business idea that you had,
Right.
because you're listening to the little girl within saying, "I want that lollipop. Give it
Right.
to me now."
Right.
And you're like, "Sure, honey. Here. We're gonna do it now. We're gonna
Yeah.
enjoy it now. We're gonna taste it now."
Exactly. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of that is also, like we said, narrowing down the circle.
Yes.
Maybe not exposing yourself to everyone's opinions. For me,
Oh,
lately,
that's another
it's
one.
been, just turn off social media for a week. I'm doing once a month now. I feel really good about it,
Mhm.
which is something that is like, this girl, does she have issues? Like, does she have problems? Does she can't put her phone down? But that's the way it is. Everywhere you go, there's a waiting room, there's a thing. Everyone's on Instagram, Facebook, or on the news or whatever. And it's a lot of noise in that phone that's going to get you not on your path. And the thing is that it's
Yes.
not so much that, these things can help us. No, they are resources, but they are not our life. And so that is what, I'm, how many days am I now? What is it, like, Monday? So Monday was my last post, and so now we're Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days. I have 3 more days to go. I'm not stressing about it,
And you
but
don't
I'm
feel bad about
excited.
it.
I don't feel
Yeah.
bad about it at all. If my family needs me, they know where to call me.
Exactly.
And
Going
if
back to-
anybody who's important knows
Yeah.
me, they have my phone number. So that's the
Mhm.
way you can get in contact with me in this time that I'm silent on the world stage, if you will.
Yeah,
And that's the
yeah.
thing, you can't let the world in every day. And so I think that that's what I've really learned over my past 4 days detox.
Mhm, mhm. Detox,
But it
yeah.
really is a detox, because you know uh, when you go and you are exposing yourself, when I say exposing myself, I mean in a very social media wise,
Yeah, with all
and
the
how
details
to
that
your
you do with your life.
thoughts,
Yes.
and your it's not that it's bad, it's great, you're sharing things with people, but at the same time you have to learn to share with
To
yourself,
balance it.
and to be able to know that you don't need to share so any
certain things.
or not even like, well, of course there's certain things, but as far as the way that I do it is that I'm share a lot of my thoughts, and therefore it's an energy that I'm putting into. And if I don't necessarily am receiving what I need out of it, which is energy, good energy back,
Right.
then I cannot, you're not able to that. Those are like any type of, so
Mm.
you can go, let's say, to the market and maybe have a bad moment with someone, and either you can go ahead and hang on to that cloud and go with that all day, or you can
Or let
choose
it go.
to let it go. Now, if you're always looking at your phone, you have less chances of letting it go. And so it
Absolutely.
could even
Yes.
be a high of like, oh, everyone thinks I look beautiful in this picture,
Yeah.
or my thoughts have been received so well today. And you could be
Yeah.
caught up on that all day and really be
Exactly.
distracted. So I'm just saying for the phone, because that's the easiest thing that distracts anybody.
And something to that.
Anybody from
Yeah.
young to old,
Oh, yeah.
11 to 90, because
To
9-year-olds know how to use their
something.
phone now.
Yes,
So I
absolutely.
think that's just
Yeah.
one of the biggest things is
Yeah.
we tend to put ourselves in a place of, let me
Mhm.
see what's going on, when you
Yeah.
haven't even checked in with ourselves. And that's
Exactly.
super important.
When you haven't even woken up in the morning and meditated or prayed or just simply relax, put your what is it called?
The
The
aromatherapy little
aromatherapy
mister.
that we have there, and just breathe. We breathe into the earth or whatever. And you mentioned something. You say you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
So yeah, so
How does
I
that
really
work for
today
you?
I woke up at 5:30, but I did not, like, it's so funny because I got out of bed at 6 today.
Is it like a morning
actually.
routine that you have?
So no, actually, well, yeah, it's kind of a morning routine. It's within assisting in the morning with things that I have to do in my house. But aside from that, it's the fact that I have to get up is also helped me be happier.
It's a good
So
time in the day and
right.
in the night. Between night and day, they say that it's one of the most energetical.
It's funny because I woke up the other day at
Yeah.
I had woken up at 4:50, and then like it was Monday. Monday, my last day on Instagram. I went and I was like, Dr. Sebi approved as an account, and Dr. Sebi was a very big herbalist, and he was a vegan doctor, and he helped like cure a lot of things, and he
Okay.
has a very big following within the vegan world and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Mhm.
And pretty much he already passed away, but the account that was made for him posthumously,
Okay.
they talked about, it was just a little meme that said, waking the benefits of waking up at 4:30 in the morning.
That's
And I
so
was
nice.
like, that is so funny. I woke up today at 5:30, and I've been waking up like this for a long time.
And
I
you
used
feel
to have
good.
yeah, I feel great. I mean, I used to have a barista job. So being a barista, you have to wake up at the
Okay.
crack of dawn, and if
Yeah.
not before. And so that's totally great for me. I love that type of schedule, and I've been on that schedule for years. Of course, there's a couple months here and there where I've
Of
taken it
course.
easy.
Yeah.
But as far as waking up at that time, I'm up before everyone else. I'm relaxed by the time 8 o'clock is around. Like, I'm fully functional. That's
Tips.
a
Tips.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
fully functional. I'm able to think better. By the time I get to the
Oh yeah.
store, no one's there. Like if I have to do my groceries or I have to go,
Mhm.
get something, I have so much time. The roads are free. I like to
Mhm.
ride bike. That's my main mode of transportation. So it's actually very safe to
Yeah.
be on the road, 6 in the
Early in
morning,
the
way
morning.
earlier on your bike, if you're going to be doing that. Of course, always with your lights and always with your everything, your
Precautions, of
helmet.
course. Mhm.
People don't say that enough, I don't think. And so
Yeah, wear your helmet and wear
yeah,
your lights so people can see you. And
especially in the
yeah.
really early morning when it's darker at night, and dusk is actually one of the hardest times to see in the road. So
Oh.
yeah, so in
Okay.
the end of the day, just having that ability to be with myself in the morning is so nice. My
Mm.
dad's not awake. I live with my dad. My roommate's not awake. And so I have the whole house to myself. I can open the blinds, get that first bit of the sun in, and
Oh.
like it's super peaceful. And then I put on some lo-fi, chill beats from YouTube. It's on a loop. So it's an hour and a half, 2 hours of that. And so I'm able to jot down my thoughts, or organize my day, or do all the annoying chores that I can do, that I don't have to do at 8. I'll just do them all between, really, I sit alone at the table for like an hour and a half. So like from
Mm.
4:30 to like 6, I'm like breakfast, coffee, think, wake up,
Oh,
try to get myself
wow.
together, and
Yeah.
then after that I take a shower. I start doing my day of like make my bed and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So my brain is more alert by the
Clear.
time
Yeah.
and clear, and I feel good
Mhm.
about it. I feel so
Hmm.
much better doing that. And I know it's
Hmm.
super early. I actually had time, funny enough, because she was like, "Oh, so what time do we start tomorrow?" I'm like, "Whatever time you want." I wake up at 4:30 in the
That's how
morning.
everything started. 4:30.
And then she's like,
Oh
"Oh
my
my god!" And then
god.
I was like, "Don't worry, it's no big deal." So funny enough, I ended up getting off of the metro rail at like 8:50, and then I was able to ride a bike over to your area super
Oh.
fast. I was
Okay.
already in the area at like 9:05. But I
Okay.
hung out by the lake. I mean, not the canal.
The
And I mean, just hanging
canal,
out in the
yes.
canal and
We have a lot of canals here in this area,
and
so
hanging out
yeah.
by the canal, seeing the little chickies, not the chickies, they're little ducklings,
The ducklings that are,
the
yeah,
ducklings
yeah.
and their their moms and their dads and all the cute things that were happening. I got
So
to
what time
see
you go to sleep?
cranes.
You go to sleep early too,
I
or?
try to go to sleep as early as possible. So I'll go to sleep, like
Oh.
yesterday was a little later, so like 10,
Oh, but still, so you basically sleep like what, 4 to 6
6.
hours?
I 6 to 8. 6 to 8.
Oh, so you, oh, because you
6 to 8.
you
So like
okay.
that was last night I went to sleep probably around 10. And then I wake up.
And you still get your hours of that you're supposed to get your 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm not a napper. There's a lot of people who nap. I
Oh,
can't nap.
I can't either.
I have a
I
migraine and
can't.
it's killing me and I feel like I might die, then I nap. That's
Okay.
the only way. That's the only way. I cannot nap.
Oh, okay. Well, that, you're telling us a lot about you were speaking in a casual conversation, but you're giving the audience a lot of tips.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
sleeping, waking up early, and all
she
that
thinks
is
they're tips. I'm like, this is everything.
this is and that is the and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
When you is that a lifestyle?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
for
a
sure.
lifestyle. You don't have to think about it. Oh, I'm gonna be on a diet. I'm gonna wake up
And I haven't
early.
always been like this, by the way.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like the
Okay.
pandemic shut me in that I
Yeah.
ended up having to like learn how to be like, okay, well, it's time to go to sleep
It's time to
now.
change, or it's time to
And
make a
so
change.
right, and that's
Yeah.
that's definitely something that I felt. And before I used to actually go to sleep at 2 or 3 in the morning because I used to like be very social and active and out and doing
Yeah.
things. So then it changed from this night owl lifestyle
Yes.
to a completely morning
Mhm.
lifestyle. So it's very
Mhm.
it's very much helpful. Yeah,
Mhm.
I feel better for sure. My body feels better. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
actually on track. Which when you go to sleep at 2:30 in the morning, which it was really normal for me. It was like I would wake up later, I would have
Yeah.
jobs later. It was like completely like my
Yeah.
whole
Your whole
difference of
schedule
lifestyle.
changes. Yeah.
It
Mhm.
ends up you feel way more tired at that time. I don't think that the body is even meant for that. So I think that
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
like campesinos and farmers, they tend
Yeah.
to be like jolly people.
Right. And
I
then
think
they
that's
wake
why. I
up.
literally think that that's why. Like
They wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, or even some of them
earlier,
3:30 in the morning, and then they have a
3.
big breakfast with meat and like a huge
Yes.
breakfast.
Yeah,
That give them a lot of
steak and
energy.
like
Right, exactly. I mean, not that we're gonna do that. I mean, I don't think so. But waking up early, it's hard for me to wake. Even though I'm a morning person, it's hard for me to wake up early.
yeah.
I'm working on it because my husband goes running like at 5:30 or so
There
in
you
the
go.
morning,
I mean, they
and
say
he's
that the most successful
consistent.
people wake up really early.
Successful people wake up early, exactly.
And I mean, success can be started every day. Like you can
And
you can start on it every day. We tend to think that we don't have that just because we don't have
Yeah.
millions of dollars or like
Yeah.
infinite amounts of airplane miles and travel miles. But like to be honest,
Yeah.
that happiness and success can start with little things like the compound effect we were talking about. So it's
Yeah.
and keeping your eye on the prize is super important. So
Yeah. Yeah.
going back to everything that we've been talking about, it's like
Yes.
the reason why I like to wake up at this time is because with my coffee shop and the concepts that I'm putting into play, being up early is super important.
So
Having
now
a
it gives you
focused schedule
it
is
gives you
super
time
important.
to focus on your business. And you tell before we wrap up, I want you to tell the audience what's coming up for you for
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
future as an entrepreneur, as an artist, and also want to ask you a few questions of the 5 Ws and the H,
Okay.
and then we can wrap up this conversation because we could be here talking forever.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Every day.
So
Every day.
entrepreneurship for you. How does it look
So
like?
entrepreneurship for me looks like doing my best. doing within my capacity what I can.
Mhm.
So I my biggest hump lately was the getting over the doing it now.
Mm.
So like doing it now, I'm already over that. So now that I'm gonna be doing that,
Let's go for it.
I
Let's get
feel
that
like
lollipop now.
now I'm gonna do the best that I can
Yes.
with what I have. Not being afraid of what the future holds, just
Mm.
going full force forward. And with the amount of energy I have, there's no you can't have the inspiration, the ability, and not render good results with your actions. So
Mhm.
since we're doing that, the passion, the inspiration, the ability, and now action. There's no way you're gonna render nothing. There's
Mhm.
no way.
Mhm.
Only if I sat at home and did nothing.
So what does your passion make
So
you do?
my passion, my
Yes.
passion. Oh, it motivates you.
It motivates
I
you.
mean, okay.
Good.
That's
That's
like a
like
test.
there's no right or wrong answer.
I think that passion motivates you. Yeah, it's like it's the catalyst to the fun part, I guess. The passion is the car that takes you to
Right.
motivation, and then motivation takes you to the actual goal. So I
Okay.
think that's what entrepreneurship looks like to me.
So maybe on another video podcast in the future, you'll have your ideas like more organized and put together when it comes to that big thing that you're planning. That
Oh,
we
yeah,
don't-
yeah.
We don't want
So-
to talk about that.
Yeah,
now
we're not
too
going to talk
much.
about the concept, but it is coffee oriented. It's something that I've been thinking about
It's
for
the
probably
bomb.
I've probably been thinking about this for 5+ years, because I just been traveling and then finding Cuban coffee in other places, and just coffee in general that I like. It's just like, oh, so hard. So I just
Mhm.
felt, okay, if I don't see it, I need to make it, and
So
that's
it's a
it.
coffee related business that
Right.
she's gonna have on her plate there.
So I'm very excited for that.
Okay, okay. So then now let's talk about what is your how do you define your who?
Who, like me?
Like, I don't know. Is it like is that the first thing that came to your mind?
Yeah.
Who, me?
Well, who is me?
Okay.
Who is Gelpi?
So we're doing the five W's and the H here that we always follow in coaching and
So-
in the knowledge industry to get to know yourself and what you want.
Right.
So in this business plan that you have, who is your who? So it would be you said.
Well, I
Okay.
guess in the business plan, it would be myself and the consumer. So what I'm doing is that I'm sharing my passion, things that I've learned since I was a kid. Like,
Okay.
I made Cuban coffee with my grandparents when I was a kid. My abuela Rosalie was the one that actually taught me how to make the
Mhm.
coffee. The espumita, the whole nine.
Yes.
And
yes.
so for
Yeah, because Cuban coffee, let's because the audiences are they're not aware.
oh yes,
of it.
okay, so
The espumita is the foam
right at
and
the top
it's-
of the coffee.
Exactly, that makes it so special. You make the coffee, then with a separate on
I
another
don't know what it's
container.
called. I don't even no one knows what it's
I,
called.
I
It's
guess
just
it's
like a
the
little.
little foam. My God, the
It's
foam
like little
espumita.
tacita, the tacita
Oh,
that
the
goes in.
Right, and
What's
so
that
you
called?
you put like a sugar, and then you put just the first few drops of the coffee as it brews, right?
Oh, it's a ramekin.
And-
In the ramekin, you put
And-
some
and
sugar.
yeah,
yes, it
ramekin,
brews.
okay, and then you just like stir it like really fast.
Yeah, it's very much like the concept that the French have with making their omelets. You want to put air in it.
They say that you have to have a touch for it. Then not everybody can do it.
Oh yeah.
You have the touch?
Oh yeah.
She's got the touch.
I got the So they taught me when I was like what
Yeah.
7, 8 years
Okay,
old how to
do
make
that.
coffee. I
Okay.
was never allowed to have the coffee because if you don't know about Cuban coffee is super caffeinated. It's one of the higher caffeinated like coffee drinks that you can get.
Yeah.
And so my grandparents never, my mother never let me have Cuban coffee, but I was allowed to make it. So the cool part is, and then I would have a little bit of the foam.
I like a taste.
A little bit of the foam, I could have some of the foam and the sugar and stuff like that, but then that was it. They were never letting me have an actual shot of coffee.
So now what you want to do with your who, which is your audience, your avatar, your ideal
I
customer
want them
avatar.
to experience what I experienced as a kid,
Mhm.
and also put my own twist on it so that they can enjoy some more traditional
Mhm.
drinks with a little bit of the Gelpi flair.
Yeah.
But that's for another episode.
That's for another episode because now we're going to talk about your what, and the what would be this concept that you have coming up. So we can have different whats in our life.
Totally.
So this idea of a business for coffee is one. What is your other what?
So you're gonna have
Would
to
you say
rephrase
it's
that one.
kissing? Would you say singing? Would you say
Kissing.
kissing? Maybe it is kissing.
Maybe it's kissing.
Maybe it's kissing. Just a kiss of the coffee. Oh, let's
Ah.
think about that idea.
Well, I was
Okay.
gonna say I think the what for this business plan is more on the
Mhm.
end of like like we had talked about earlier, like all the art, the fact that this is
Mhm.
still art. This is not like, I haven't strayed away from the idea of creativity. I haven't strayed away from the idea of this is a craft. I haven't strayed away from the idea of making it myself. I haven't strayed away from any of those ideas that I had for other concepts that you and I have talked about. But like, I'm still able to paint. I'm still able to make my own merch. I'm still able to make my, you know, the coffee the way that I want to do it, in an artistic fashion, where people are going to appreciate the coffee taste, but I'm also going to be able to have fun with them appreciating the art that was put into it, which is, you know, my passion, my touch, and my recipes and my concept. So they're gonna have a whole other new experience, but that's what the audience is getting from my, you know, from the fact that I'm doing this from my heart. Like, so my own experiences is able to influence the experience that they have when they taste the coffee, or when they're there getting it or seeing it, how it's made and whatnot. So I'm excited.
Okay, so what we're doing here right now is actually what I do with some of my clients when they want to launch a business. So just to give you an idea, we always go around the questions of having clarity on the five W's and the H.
Yes.
So so this is just like a short version of our sessions when we do a business session, and to figure out what it is that we want to do, and road mapping the whole concept. So, but just briefly, so you have your who, you have your what, and your when.
Oh, this Saturday. What's that? Tomorrow.
What do you have your no, but is your when? Like, when are you going to? When do you plan to launch this? Do you have a date? Do you have an idea? Because when you want something in life,
well,
you have to date it somehow so that to make it happen. You have to put it on the
so
calendar.
tomorrow's I have to leave here and get some supplies, but tomorrow's gonna be the first day. So I'm going to be trying this out. This whole concept is already into play. I already have the idea, the branding, and everything.
Fast. I thought she was gonna say by the end of the year or in the summer. Oh wow!
No, tomorrow.
Already.
Tomorrow. So tomorrow is gonna be the first little launch, just to see how people feel about it. To see how I feel about it, to see if, you know, is this something that I want to tweak anything to do? Yeah. So is this like a trial concept? But it would be tomorrow. I'm gonna go to a market. I don't want to say where,
That's
when,
it.
but that's it.
That's it, because see, this is like the beginning stages of this full idea that started a long time ago.
Yeah, and nobody has an idea that I want to do this. Only very close friends and family. So it'll be a good. It'll be authentic commentary tomorrow, which I'm really excited for. A raw feeling on seeing what people think, how their faces react, what their mouth looks like when they're tasting, and everything.
I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you. And we'll talk more about it later when all this, when is actually materialized in something a lot bigger than that, because you have already done all this thinking, all this planning, all this strategy, or, you know, the trials or whatever that you said. And so what is your why?
So my why is mostly
what was your cheese? What moves your cheese? You know that book? Like, have you read that book?
No, my God! I thought you said what molds your cheese.
No,
it's like that makes sense. I was like,
what moves your cheese is a book. Okay, I'll tell you about it.
Your cheese. Como tu energía.
No, your cheese, the actual cheese.
Oh, cheese. Okay.
Cheese. You were right. Cheese.
Okay.
So tell me your why, and I'll tell you about the cheese later.
I'm gonna learn about that book.
I'll tell you about the cheese later. You tell me about your why now.
So I guess my why is because I haven't been doing this. Like, I've been literally postponing this for no reason, for no actual reason. You know, all the silly ideas that we put in our head that are like our actual reasons for not doing something. Like, I started realizing, like, this is not real. This is not real. These ideas that I have of like, oh, I have to wait till I have my own space. Oh, I have to wait till I have an extra fridge. Oh, I have to wait till I have, I don't know, you cannot, like, and that's why I say I go back to the whole thing of like the Cuban innovation is like, we have to do it right now. We have to make that action right now. We have to accomplish those things now, because we don't number one, you don't know if you have tomorrow. And then also, you know, why marinate on this? Watch everybody do it.
Well, you have this idea.
And then, like, I had the idea first.
You were frozen.
Or even I had the idea first, maybe. And then I have to watch everyone do my idea, even mediocre. And that's another thing's like mediocrity. I can't deal with that. Okay. So I want to be the best one to do it.
So that's why you don't want to be mediocre and you don't want to wait anymore.
Right, exactly. There you go. You got to the why.
That's it. Just
No, but
because
it's
of
very
that.
true. So I have a very good friend that shout out to my friend Saba. She's very cool, very smart young lady that lives in San Francisco. She's
Okay.
in marketing and advertising.
Okay.
And we talk about a lot of different things, but those are one of the things we talk about a lot is mediocrity and how
Mhm.
people are okay with that these days. And back in the day,
Mhm.
it used to be a thing where you want to be the best, and so I kind of feel like
Mhm.
it's not a bad thing to want to be the best. It's
No,
not. I
absolutely.
don't think that there's
Mhm.
anything wrong with competition either.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think that it's better to have someone who can, like, because through someone else's success, you can be encouraged. And that's something I don't think people
Yeah.
even know
Yeah.
is possible. Like, instead of being envious or
Mhm.
being a person that's like, oh, I didn't get to do it, they did it now. And that's it. It's
Then go
over.
ahead and take steps and do it
No, you
yourself.
can do it too. And not only
Exactly.
that, their standard means that you can go even better than that. And then they see your standard and they get better. That's why
Mhm.
coffee shops, fast food restaurants, stores, you'll see all of Miracle Mile is bridal shops.
Yeah.
But which
Exactly.
one's the best one?
Uh-huh.
And so
Mhm.
that's something that I don't think a lot of people think of. That's why you'll see a Dunkin' Donuts right next to a bagel shop that's more local,
Right.
because of the simple fact that
Yeah.
the competition makes you understand, okay, and that was something big in San
And
Francisco.
Miracle Mile is a strip here
Sorry, I
in
keep
Coral
doing
Gables.
these Miami references.
Remember that we're global
We're
here.
global. I just wanted to
We're
say yes.
global. Just like coffee. Coffee is global,
Yes,
right? So
absolutely.
Miracle Mile is a strip of stores here in a
Coral
section
Gables.
of Miami, which is called Coral Gables, and it's still all stores and restaurants and stuff like that. And there's a lot of bridal shops in there.
Yeah, and the reason why is because that area is known for having the most beautiful weddings, a lot of celebrities. I think even some
And
presidents'
quinceañeros
kids,
too.
and there's
Yeah.
quinceañeras. There's like tons of different amazing events that happen in Coral Gables because
Uh-huh.
it's the city beautiful. Literally, it's the city
Yeah.
beautiful, and they have so many weddings that happen in that area that they have shops, a whole strip full of like a lot of bridal shops. Like, it's like countless.
Yeah.
And it's to the point where, like, some people, I mean, I'm the type of person, I'm like, "Oh, I'll never get one there," because I'm like, everybody goes there, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I want it to be unique and special. I'll make design my own.
Right,
That's
no,
my
for
thinking.
sure, absolutely. But also, you go there and I mean, no matter how unique you want to be, there's no denying that those shops are full of beautiful dresses, and the dresses are absolutely amazing. And the reason why there are
what
so
is
many,
the best? Well, what is the best? What
right?
is the best
The
one?
reason why is because there's so many options. You have so many options, but you also have competition, and those people are all in competition with each other. And it's wonderful because no one has to take from the other to get where they need to go, but they are all next to each other so that people can choose, do I like this one, do I like that one? And it's healthy competition.
And you know what, and to that extent,
you can get good ideas from each other.
You can get
Right.
and teach each other.
Exactly.
And learn from each other, from your mistakes or your successes. Actually, when we do the SWOT analysis in a business proposition, it's, the SWOT analysis is the strengths of the business, the weaknesses of the business, the threats of the business, and the opportunities that the business offers.
Nice.
So when you do that, you compare that with a competition, and so you come out with, okay, this works for them, this does not work for them, etc. So that's how it works, and so that's good. So you were going to say something else?
No, just that that's
so you were
the way
talking
that
about your why, and you were talking, and then you were talking about now we're going to talk about your how, just to wrap it up here. So how are you going to do that? And looking forward or moving forward, where are we going to see you, say, maybe 6 months from now? Is that fair to ask?
Yeah, for sure. So what I project for myself is that, tomorrow will be great. It's going to be a lot of trials, seeing how people feel about the product, and then it will go on to expanding my menu. So I have a few concepts. Like right now, with what I have, I can only produce a certain amount of menu items. So by the time 3 months rolls around, I want to add one more item to the menu. And then in 6 months,
Good.
I'm planning on having a full solid menu and possibly some food items. So the menu's basically just beverages at the moment.
Okay.
So as time progresses, we want to
do coffee focused.
Coffee focused.
Okay.
So the idea is that we have live made coffee. So like in person, we're making you
Mm-hmm,
coffee,
mm-hmm.
but then there will be eventually a point where we are also able to distribute cold drinks,
Okay.
and we would also be able to have grab and go drink. So it's like the idea would be that we have right now, well, we can serve you today made to order, and then
Okay.
3 months down the line we'll have
Hmm.
the grab and go, and then
Okay.
6 months down the line we would be able to go to any event, give
Mm.
you the live, the cold, the grab and go, and even some food items. So
Mm.
that's like,
What kind of food items are you thinking? Are you thinking Cuban also? Just to go
yeah,
along the
very
line of a Cuban
definitely a lot.
coffee,
Yes.
or Latin, or more casual type of easy to
So
make.
some of the items on the menu are, some of the things on the menu are actually
Uh-huh.
inspired by different places I've gone to and places that I
Oh,
love.
beautiful! I love
So
it.
definitely, we have the Cuban culture in there hardcore, and that's going to be in everything. But I also love Indian
Because you have
culture.
been influenced by many other
Of course,
cultures
that's
that.
my own, like, Cuba's my country. That's the United States is my country, but Cuba's my motherland, if you will,
Your
and that's where my
background.
grandparents come from, and so we have that. But then also, I've been to San Francisco, and I've been, my favorite food next to Cuban food is Indian food.
Oh, I
So
love it
we're
too.
gonna have some Indian teas. We are going to
Ooh.
also have,
Oh,
when it gets
teas.
to,
I love the tea
yes,
idea also because you can like mix it with coffee.
definitely. So
Oh, I
that's
love
why
that.
we're gonna have, the names are definitely gonna be super interesting. I'm getting creative with the names.
I
I can rap, I can sing, I write poetry, I've done all types of different things when it comes to writing. So the names are gonna be super exciting.
ah, I
As
love it.
far as the flair is gonna be definitely a little eclectic. So you're gonna have the
Mm,
Cuban, you're gonna have a little bit of Indian influence, you're gonna have some California influence as well.
okay.
And I'm gonna try to keep everything as vegan as possible, which is very interesting because,
Mm-hmm.
as
There's nothing vegan
Cubans,
about Cubans.
right, as Cubans, as you know, one of our favorite animals
Yes,
to eat is
yeah.
pork,
I don't
which
speak
is,
about it. I'm Cuban.
yeah, it's pork, and we're seen, it's seen as such as an undesirable animal in other cultures, but
No
that's our
vegan.
like holy animal to us, so it's like we love it. But no, there's not gonna be any cow. I'm aiming for no cow,
Okay,
no dairy.
that's beautiful
And then
to combine that.
the only thing that I'm considering as far as my as a non-vegan thing is actually honey. But I have a
Mhm.
Florida, Miami local source. So when it comes down to that, you
Mm.
got to share some of that. And I think people need to even know that we have
To
bees.
help each other,
And not only that, like, I think people need to know we have bees
Yeah,
in
yes,
Miami.
yeah, yeah.
And I think people need to understand more about bees. And it's part of like
Mm.
helping them stay alive as well.
Oh, yes.
So, and they're huge pollinators. If you didn't, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys know, but bees and birds are huge pollinators. And
Mm-hmm.
so keeping the bee population alive, and also having
Mm-hmm.
that understanding that bees are
Mm-hmm.
important, and that we have our
Yeah.
own Miami
And so
bees
that
is
way,
gonna be part of that.
you,
But that's the
yeah.
only non-vegan thing I think I'm
So
gonna
you
go for.
stay connected to also to something that is very close to your heart, which is the connectivity with nature,
Oh,
with
for
the
sure.
community, with helping out, with lending a hand. Because I know you, and you haven't talked much about it because you're very humble, but you like to help out. You like to lend a hand. You like
Thank you.
to be there to support people, to support local businesses,
Yeah.
and you have a big heart. So I have to, she's not going to say it, but I'm going to say it for her. And
She's so
that's
sweet.
and that's
We're
why,
reflections of each other, so it's like
no,
she's gonna say that.
and
She's
that's
so
why,
sweet.
no, thank you, but that's why she is creating these beautiful concepts, which we will talk about it in another podcast.
Yeah.
But for now, there's a lot of work to get done as an entrepreneur. Gelpi, she will not stop with her singing. She will not
No,
stop
not
with
at
her
all.
artistry. She's not going to leave aside her creativity, but she is going to narrow down her focus right now in her business as an entrepreneur, as a young
Absolutely.
woman entrepreneur, which is a great example for us women and for us Latin women,
And I was
and
gonna say,
for everybody in general.
I was just gonna say that, like, that's the biggest reason also of my why, if you want to add that to,
You add it. It's your why.
is the fact that family is super big for me. So, not only being able to do this as an ode to my my family, my ancestors, the people who got me here, to not got me here as a person, but got me here into the United States, and my grandparents made such sacrifices for us to be here in the land of opportunity, that I would use and seize every moment. And then not only that, my kids would be able, whenever I have them,
Mm-hmm.
to see, okay, well, mom made a business, I can make a business. And then instead of doing it at, let's say, which I've had little businesses here and there, but 31 with a very solid concept,
Mm-hmm.
an idea that I'm putting full force, all my energy and investment
Mm-hmm.
into,
Mm-hmm.
going on to them understanding that takes courage, it takes strength, it takes resilience, all the things that we talked about today,
Yes.
and that they can do it not at 31, but they can start at 12, 10,
Exactly. Exactly.
and I'm not opposed to that.
Exactly. And this
Kids
is,
need to do more, so this is
yeah.
more for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've thought about my unborn children since I was a kid, so I want to be that good example for them too,
Mm-hmm.
even now, even though they don't
Exactly.
exist yet.
Exactly. But that's we're gonna leave it at that. That was a beautiful wrap up here with a big, strong message. And so here, Gelpi.
Facilitated by Laura.
Thank you very much. A life with purpose. That's what she has. A life with purpose. And that's what
Absolutely.
we want you to have. A life with purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Peace and love.